Hey everybody, welcome to another Hallyu Caesar review. I am reviewing Twinkle. This is a cool little dice game. This is by V Games. And it has, let's go ahead and show you what comes in the box. This is a game for 1 to 4 players. It takes about 15 minutes. It's a quick little game. And so it's cool. It has a little solo mode. And it's all about choosing dice and trying to get different combinations of dice and select them and make these little constellation type things. Rule books. Oh, so many rule books. Very cool that they included all a bunch of different languages here, and then unlike, so there's a few where you get rule books and it has multiple languages in one rule book, and it's just kind of hefty and it's in there, and your language may be first, it may be in the middle, and so I actually really appreciate that they presented this all separately. So yeah, I actually really appreciate that. I just wanted to show you that. After this, I'm gonna honestly just toss the other ones because I don't need all of those in different languages. So very cool though that they decided to include all of those. That's very cool. Just quickly, those languages are English, French, German, Greek, I imagine, Italian, Spanish. So all sorts of different languages are included in that. The rule book is nice. It provides a good overview of what comes in the game itself, and lots of different good examples of how the scoring works, and example gameplay there. And then there's some more discussion on the mission cards, which adds a lot of variability to the game itself. And then there's a solo campaign mode that you are trying to work through, and there's a card in here that kind of helps explain the different setups there. So really cool, a lot going on in just this little box. There's the little cardboard board here that goes in the middle. Very nice. It just sets up, you want to set it up so that everyone can work off 2 of the same colored stars, and work through there. And yeah, so it's great. That's really the only setup here, is it utilizes that for these initial stars, and you're going to build off of it with these little white sticks. There's little cubes in here to represent that go along with the colors. It's also double-sided, so at the end of the game you can flip this over and then count up your points according to the different scorecards that you're utilizing, and you can keep track of your points that way. Good visual representation and able to do that. So really cool that they included that in the little cubes to help you track those. So everyone's going to get a set number of these sticks, and then the game gets into the dice. So there are 5 dice in each color, and they're all different. So we have the D4, we have our 4-sided die, we have our 6-sided die, 8-sided die, and then we have the 10-sided die and a 12-sided die. And so 1 in each of the colors. And what's going to happen is you take the 8-sided dies and you're going to roll those, and those go into the center here. And on your turn, very simply, you're going to either take a set number of dice. You can choose 3 dice of any of the colors, any of the sizes, and you're going to roll them. Then you have to choose one and add it to your grid. And you're adding, the way that you choose to add and to the different things here is how you score the points. So depending on the color, depending on the number that you roll, that's how you're building. You're just trying to come up with the best possible way to get the point value from the different dice combinations, what you roll, how you do that. So there's a few different ways that you can get points. One of the ways is whenever you have a larger sided die that breaks off of a smaller one, you're going to get 2 points for that. That's call those twinkles. And so every single time you can do that, you're going to get 2 points. And that's, again, it can be a little more challenging, right, as to do that, because a larger number, you're looking for a larger sided die, but a smaller number. So whenever you add a die off of a star, it needs to be a lower number than the one above it. So this would be a 6. I would need to be lower than that. I would need a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that sort of thing. But if I'm able to get like a 5 on a 12-sided die, and this is a 6-sided die, that would get me points. And so you always play with that one. That's the Twinkle name of the game. You can get a bunch of points for doing those. So then the other element that you get to is here, and these cards are how you play basically the normal or basic gameplay. Is each of the dice score a certain way. Yellow, you get points for getting a lot of yellow dice. The green, you're going to get points for having a lot of the same dice in your constellations. You can look at both of them and say, oh, well, I have this green die, the D4, so I'm going to get 1 point for that and 1 point for every other D4 that I have. Okay. The black ones are you're adding for each star. So this one, you're not looking at all of your dice, but you're looking at this star. If you have one die, you're going to get 1 point, one black die. If you have multiple, you're going to add up all of the black dice in that star. And depending on where you're at, if it's like 6 or less, you're going to get 2 points. If it's 7, you get that. And there's kind of a max here at 9. If you can get it to add to 9, you get 5 points. You start going more than that, you're going to get less points for it. So you're trying to shoot for a certain value there. The blue ones here, you're trying to get basically like sets of twins. They're like twin stars for each off of each die and or star here, beginning star piece. If you have 2 coming off of one, you get 4 points for each of those instances. If you have 1 blue die coming off of something, you'll get 1 point for those. The purple like to have be in the center of things. You get 1 point for each branch off of this, and you are limited to 2 off of 1 star. So you can't have like 6 branches off of this and get 6 points. You can only, this is be kind of your max situation anyway, is to get 3 points, but you can get 3 points per purple die if you plan that out correctly. The red, if you have a red die in here, for all the other dice in there, you can choose odd or even and get a point for each. So if I have this red 8, I can say, well, I have a lot of odd in here, so I'm going to get 1, 2, 3. I'll get 3 points for this single branch here. So I wouldn't be able to include this one, but because it's part of this branch, I can include that 9 in those, and you can maximize those that way. So the basic game, you play with these, the colors, and you're playing with all those dice, and you're playing with the Twinkle card as well for each, larger sided face die that you can place after. You're going to get 2 points for that. And at the end of the game, once everyone's played all of their tiles there, and I'm just spacing 7 connectors. So you place 7 dice, and that's the game. That's it. So again, it's very simple. It's very short. And you have all these cards, but that's just the basic version. So then you can get into the point where you are playing with these other cards. Now, these other cards, there's kind of 2 different levels here, but you can play and introduce other ways of scoring as well. So those are just kind of the basic ways that you can always score. But then you introduce and you can play with different variations, different combinations of all these other ways of scoring. And so, if you can have this where you have this combination where you have a die here, and branching off, and the A you can get equal to B plus C, you can get 3 points. So some of them are like per instances. Some are like, hey, if you do this, you're going to get those points. And so there's a lot of different variation, and playing with these again, is going to kind of dictate how people are going to try to strategize for that specific game. And I'm amazed, like, again, it's a very simple game, but a lot of different things, strategy goes into what dice you're trying to collect and what I'm trying to collect and what they're trying to collect. Maybe I want to take one of those dice because I want to keep them from getting that third yellow die to have them so they can't get another 3 points for just having the die. No, doesn't matter where it is. Um, Anyway, very, very fun game. It's, again, maybe not the most exciting component wise, where it's some dice and some sticks, but like it's one of those where like Unearth is another one from Brotherwise Games, where you have different sized die that you're rolling. You're competing over kind of area control type thing. This one reminded me of that a little bit, but again, this one isn't area control. You kind of have your own thing that you're working on, but a very limited number of dice and a very limited number of turns, as everyone just has 7 dice that they're going to place, and that's it. And you add up the scoring. So it's a very quick game. I really appreciate like the basic gameplay that you can play here, but then you have all these different other ways of scoring as well. And it really kind of changes, okay, how can I make this work with the other things the best? Or, someone takes those dice and it's like, okay, well, I really need to try to focus on this sort of thing. And trying to do as many of the things as you can to get the most points. And so a lot of variability within, choosing these different objectives as you're trying to go through those. The base game itself is fun too. I played this with my kids. I have not gone through like much of the solo mode, but these are just the solo cards that show you all the different kind of missions, if you will, of, hey, you play this first round, you're going to play with those dice, and these objective cards. And so you just kind of play through those as this little solo mission. And it's like, it's so brilliant. And it's a brilliant way to kind of introduce you to all the different kind of objectives here in the game. And so it's really, really a neat little game. This is Twinkle. Yeah, if that looks like something that you would enjoy, go ahead and check it out. I've enjoyed this one a lot as well. It's one that surprised me a little bit of, just the dice and the simplicity of it, but I like it. I like it a lot. And that is Twinkle, and that is how Lou sees it.